The gentleman from Virginia, Mr. Cline, is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank the gentleman. I want to thank the witnesses for being here, and I want to thank the people of Yuma for being here too. We stand with the people of Yuma. My constituents are far, far away from here. They are in the Shenandoah Valley of Virginia, another farming community, another agriculture community. We have many ties that bind us to Yuma, but we also stand with you in protecting the national security of this country, making sure that we secure our border, and we will do everything in our power to do that. We recognize it as a national security crisis. The things that we have seen and heard here during this visit have reinforced that view. My decision to co-sponsor legislation that was introduced by Warren Davidson from Ohio to authorize the use of military force to ensure that, Sheriff, you have those resources that are needed to secure this border and make sure that the cartels do not continue their march into this country, into this community, and into our neighborhoods and our homes. We will make sure that you have those resources, sir. Thank you. But we did see some things that just show and demonstrate the brazenness of what is transpiring here in this community when it comes to the cartels. On the drive down to the border to San Luis Crossing, we had in our convoy cars that slowed down, that entered, that forced their way into our line of vans. And I didn't think anything of it. I thought someone was trying to exit. I couldn't figure it out. It was only today, after we realized that they were cartel members who were infiltrating our caravan to try and figure out what we were doing, what we were looking at. And just being able to have that close reinforce just what a security crisis this is on this side of the border. Sheriff, I've heard of cartel violence erupting similar to the cartel violence that's erupting across the border from Yuma in Texas, leading to members of the cartel actually escaping into the United States and asking for asylum. Have you ever seen that happen?
Yes, sir. Thank you for that question. And yes, Yuma has seen it, Cochise County has seen it, and Texas has seen it.
That is shocking, and just goes to show just how porous the border has become, how abused it is when cartel members themselves are creating the violence that's happening and then trying to escape the violence by taking advantage of the very laws that are protecting the citizens and enabling them. The lack of the enforcement by the Biden administration is enabling them to take advantage of those laws. Mr. Lyons, I want to follow up on a conversation we had a little bit earlier. My eyes have been opened to the breadth and depth of the impact of this porous border and this lack of enforcement by the Biden administration on society in Yuma, but also across this country. On districts like mine, we talked about the impact on hospitals. We went to the hospital, we saw the NICU, we saw the emergency room. We know that there's a finite number of beds, and that when there's a bed being occupied by someone here illegally, there's a bed not available to someone here legally, someone who is a resident of Yuma. But we talked about the food banks and the agriculture. We met with farmers. We listened to them talk about the impact of people, thousands of people crossing their fields, and just one incident taking away a whole entire set of acreage from being able to be harvested. But what other areas are we talking about here where this open border is having such an impact? Talk about the schools, talk about transportation, other areas.
Everything that you discussed has been a challenge, and most recently I had a call from an ESL teacher who said that she had a significant number of students being enrolled into her classes that did not speak either English or Spanish, and many of them Eastern European or Central Asian. And so there's a concern that we will continue to see that type of influx. For the most part, people have not been taking up residency in Yuma, so it was surprising to me that an ESL teacher was calling me to say, I now have a new challenge here in my classroom. And it wasn't something that she expected to confront.
But in terms of housing, in terms of jail, in terms of...
Well, the sheriff can speak specifically to the jail. I appreciate everything that he's done as a county supervisor, and we work hand in hand. His federal reimbursement is at 10%. So when he has cross-deputized the Border Patrol officers to go and assist, because the U.S. Attorney General won't prosecute, he then is faced with those challenges, and it's up to the county in order to make him whole. But, Sheriff, do you want to talk a little bit more about that?
Well, let me just...
Okay, or Mr. Cline,
let me
sorry
just
about that.
wrap up and say, you know, I've been a prosecutor. I've used the ICE detainer process to have illegals who have committed crimes in Harrisonburg deported and made sure that the community is kept safe. I've talked to troopers who pull over vans on Interstate 81 in my district who encounter the human trafficking that crosses the border here in Yuma. I see the criminal aspect of it in my district, but never have my eyes been opened to the impact on healthcare, on education, on housing, on food, on agriculture that this porous border is having. And I'm going to go home with this information to ensure that we fight even harder to secure this border so that the people of Yuma are protected, but the people of the 6th Congressional District are protected. We stand with Yuma and we stand with our citizens. Thank you all for being here today.
Thank you, Mr. Cline.